What's up, guys? As promised, I'm doing another video. Doing another video for you. As you know, in my earlier video, I said I've been very busy this week. And I said I would explain why. So the reason I've been very busy this week is because I've been helping my dad move to his new place. Obviously we've had to get all like boxes and stuff over there. So he has to be moved in by he's moving in next Monday, so we've got to make sure everything's done and dusted, ready for him to move in. As scheduled next Monday. So I mean, obviously it's taken us a little while because he has a heck of a lot of stuff. I don't think any of us realised he had so much stuff. I didn't even realise that until I was there yesterday. I helped him take a few bits over on Friday, and I was there on Friday, and I was like, Jesus, he's got so much stuff. Like, I didn't even realize that. And obviously, when we was there yesterday, sorting everything out, it was like, wow, So that's the thing with moving. Like, when you move place, like, there's always so much to do. So much to be organised. And I know my dad's been finding it hard because he's lived at the place he's lived in, and he's lived at the place he's lived in now for 59 for about 59 years. Obviously it's the next year. Will be obviously 60 years he's lived there. And he's got a lot of memories there. Obviously, he spent a lot of years there living with him and his mum. Obviously, Arnan. Obviously, she passed away in 2022. So obviously, since 2022, he's been living there on his own. He's been living in a three-bedroom place. Um, and I think this place that he's got is better for him. It's a one-bedroom. It's got more space. The rooms, the living room's a nice size. The bath, the toilet and the bathroom and everything's a nice size. The bedroom's a nice size. So it's not too bad. He's got a nice little garden at the back as well. Yeah, it's nice for him. But I think at the end, I think it's hard because I don't think he particularly wanted to move. Ever since my nan passed away, God rest her soul, obviously his mum, he was adamant that he wasn't moving. He was staying put. I think the thing is, I think before he was working, so it was easier for him to kind of keep up with the rent. But since he lost his job last year, obviously he'd been working in a care home for around 20 years, and he lost his job last year, and since then he's not been able to keep up with the rent. So he's had to give up that place and downsize to a one-bedroom property, which will probably be better for him. And he may not have to pay as much rent as he's paying now. So it's probably for the best that he has moved, that he has downsized, and I know that he obviously he's finding it hard and he didn't want to do that, but it is what it is. I mean, obviously, there's some of the stuff that he's got. It's like we've had to be really careful with it because it's really old. Like he's got one figure. He's Elvis mad. My dad. He loves Elvis. Anything to do with Elvis Presley. He's been a fan for over 50 odd years. He first became a fan of Elvis back in 1972. So we're talking 52 years this year. December it'll be 52 years. Um, and he's got so much stuff. He's got a figurine there that's about 40 odd years old. And obviously, you've got to be really careful with things like that. They're very valuable, they're worth a lot of money, and obviously, you can't buy those kind of things anymore. Like, he's got harps, he's got plates, he's got CDs, he's got a large number of Elvis books, he's got vinyls, he's got statues, he's got clocks, he's got belt buckles, he's got umbrellas, he's got like Elvis things on the light switches. He's got like Elvis pictures on the light switches. He's got an Elvis thing for his door. Like an Elvis door sign. He's got everything, you know. And it's taken a little while to get everything over there. Obviously, the furniture and stuff is being taken over there next week. Oh well, on Monday, you know, the removal, the removal men will come do that. Um, I mean, when we was in the spare, as he has like a third, obviously he has 3 bedrooms. He had, obviously he had his room, his mum's room, you know, and then the third bedroom obviously was being used as the spare room. And obviously in the spare room, you know, he had a lot of stuff in there, you know, that obviously wasn't being used or whatever. But some of the stuff that he had in there, 'cause when we were there yesterday, sorting everything out, like some of the stuff that he had in there was crazy years old. Like it was so old. Like he had a TV. I don't know I don't know exactly how old this TV was, but I would say it was from at least the 1970s, possibly 1980s. You know, that's how old it was. You know, you could tell that it was like one of those TVs that you don't really get nowadays. You could see that it was very, very old and it had obviously been in there for years. Obviously it didn't work, so it had to be thrown out because it was no good to anyone. Nobody could take it. Obviously, not that any of us needed it anyway, as we've all got our own TVs, so we didn't really need, no one really needed that one. Besides, it didn't work, so it had to be thrown out. I mean, there were a few other things in there that obviously had to be thrown out because they didn't work when they were broken or whatever. You had an Elvis calendar in there that was from 2003, so 22 years old. And I said to my dad, like, like, some of this, like, it's crazy some of the stuff you've got in here is like years and years old. You know, I mean, it's like, I said to him, how long have you had that TV in here? And he said, oh, it's been in there years. You know, 22, I mean, that TV, I would say, I would say it was probably from at least the 1970s, possibly 1980s. I mean, it could have been older than that, I don't know, but to me, it was definitely from at least the 1970s, possibly around about 1980s. You know, it was very old. It's certainly one of the oldest TVs I've seen. I mean, I have seen some old TVs, but that one, geez, that was old. That one was an old TV, blimey. Over 20 years old now. Well, I would say it was at least 30 to 40 years old, if not older. I mean, it had to come from at least the 1970s, possibly 1980s, I think. That's how old it was. I mean, it's just crazy seeing some of the stuff that he had in there, seeing how old it actually was. I mean, you look at it, you're like, I mean, that old. I mean, obviously, it is taking time to obviously get everything over there. Obviously, he's moved about 10 minutes down the road, so it's not too bad. I mean, it's weird for me because he's been living in that house since me and my sister were right little. And I can remember when we were kids and we used to go around there. Um, and it's like, I think it's going to take him a little while to sort of get used to the fact that he's obviously living in a new place. Obviously, after 59 years, he's saying goodbye to the place that he's lived at, you know, for so many years, and now he's moving to somewhere new. And I think it'll take him a little while to get used to being somewhere new. I mean, I think it's a better area for him though, because I mean, where he is now, like his house kind of backs on to the park, onto like a little park, and there's a football pitch, you know, right, and there's a football pitch there. And since, I mean, over the years, he's had a lot of issues with boys hitting the ball over his garden fence, or hit the ball over the top of the football pitch, and all that it end up in his garden. And he's had problems where he's had either the boys either coming around and knocking on his door asking for the football back, or they will climb or they climbed over his fence into his garden to get it, which they shouldn't be doing at the end of the day. You shouldn't be climbing over the fence into someone's garden. If you want your ball, go around and knock on the door. I remember me and my sister were there one day. I think we'd been out somewhere and we'd gone back to my nan's for a bit. And we were sitting there and the ball came over the fence. Now we thought someone they'd go around and knock on the door and ask for it. We were sitting all of a sudden we see one of the boys come over the fence to get the ball, and as he was having me called out, it called for my dad. By the time my dad came into the lounge, I went to walk out to the garden. They'd already just about climbed back over the fence, and he shouted. They went, "Oi, God!" You know. Um, I remember that. But at least where he is now, he won't have to worry about that. He won't have to worry about balls coming over his fence and people not having to, people climbing over his fence to get it, or knocking on his door asking for their football back. Obviously it's a very like where he's moving to. It's quite a nice sort of peaceful, quiet area for him. So it won't get disturbed too much, which is nice. Obviously it's not next to a main road, so you won't really be kept awake by traffic or anything like that. So it's nice for him, kind of off the main. At least it's sort of off the main road. It's not going to be too noisy for him. So yeah, it'd be nice. It'd be nice for him. I think I think we're pretty much done in terms of getting stuff over there. There's not too much stuff to get over there now. Um, most of as I said, most of the furniture is being moved. It's being taken over there by the removal men on Monday. So we're not obviously done move any of that stuff. But we've been taking things like clothes and things like that over there. Just to kind of get things organised. So yeah, I thought I'm going to do a little video, obviously explaining obviously why I've been very, very busy this week. I hope you enjoyed this one. I'll see you for another one soon. Bye.